And welcome into a brand new episode of Tribal Council Chat. As always, we are your hosts. My name is Bruce Heller.
And my name's Brett Parnell. I'm back for a change.
He's back from his globe trotting, and we are finally talking about the cast of Survivor 50. So,
Yeah, take two. We tried to bring this episode to you a couple weeks ago, and I was in Vegas and it was 114 degrees, and I just felt sick the whole time. So we're back doing it now. Unfortunately, a little behind some other podcasts out there, but hey, better late than never. And I mean, we're going to be talking about 50 for the next year at
you,
this point.
you say better late than never. I had another cliche, and that is you save the best for last.
That is also true.
When it comes to like Survivor 50 cast reaction, I'm pretty sure we're the last to do it. So,
Uh, yeah, probably.
and
But
that,
like I was saying, we're gonna be talking about 50 for literally the next year.
yeah,
I mean, I would assume 50 will end, and at that point, it's like, okay, the World Cup's in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico in a week.
yeah, you're a soccer person. The host country gets an automatic into the World Cup, right?
All three host countries get an automatic this time.
Oh, good, because our men's soccer team isn't very good. So,
Yeah, we would beat you guys again for the second time in a row.
we actually made it to the knockout rounds last time, if I remember right.
You did.
But I remember being really surprised by that. Because,
And then you lost to Holland like 4-0.
well, Holland's good.
They're amazing.
But like a couple World Cups ago, I'm pretty sure we didn't qualify, or we almost did it, or something. So
One of them you missed out on in my lifetime.
yeah,
I can't remember which one it was.
this is why when it comes to international soccer, I focus since Landon Donovan retired, because that's the men's soccer player in this country that I can name. I focus on the women's side because we're the powerhouse on that one. I like to
That
focus
you
on what we're good at.
for now, the British are coming.
Yeah. I don't think we won the last either the last Women's World Cup or last Olympics we didn't win, but we had won both of them a couple times in a row before that.
The last World Cup on the women's side, the Spanish won.
Yeah,
The last Olympics, you guys won. The World Cup before that, I don't remember. The Olympics before that, Canada won.
I won't bring up the 2012 Olympics for you.
Yeah, thanks. I happened to meet somebody on the cruise ship who was at Canada versus USA in that Olympics.
Yeah. Was that the one we beat Japan in the gold medal game?
Yeah,
That was a fun game. Abby Wambach was on that team. I remember that.
yeah.
But yeah, see, this is why I focus on international soccer on the women's side because the men's side, it's oh look, we made it past the group stage. The women's team, we didn't win the World Cup. How disappointing! More fun rooting for the good team.
Yeah.
So, do we want to dive into the 50 cast now?
Yeah, we are ready to get into the 50 cast. So I guess how we'll do this, we'll just go through one player at a time, give our reaction to them being on the cast, who anything we have to say about them, who we think they might want to play with, and how what we think their prospects are in the game.
Yeah, for sure. And so I am pulling up the cast right now from the Survivor account. And they've posted a lot since then. So I have to scroll for a second. Here it is.
Fair enough.
So I do not have this listed out. I've been at church camp from, we're recording this on Friday, from Sunday until this afternoon. So I am going to use the flex my survivor muscle a little bit and hopefully go in order of when they first appeared off the top of my brain.
Nice.
Just looking at this, let me turn my phone brightness down. My phone brightness is usually all the way up, so when I show it on our screen, I have to turn it down or it's just a glare. Going from this random collage they posted.
I like it.
So we're going to start with what I know is the earliest appearance, and that's Jenna Lewis from season 1. And I'm so excited to finally see her back. I just really hope she doesn't do her anti-winner thing again.
Why would that be, Bruce?
We'll get there. I think our audience knows me well enough by now. You know the answer.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, I'm excited to see Jenna back as well. I know I know some people were disappointed. They heard rumors about the names like Greg and Colleen. I don't know. I don't think either of them have really ever expressed an interest in playing. Jenna said numerous times on places like Fair Play's podcast that she wanted to play again, going back to like in seasons that are in the 40s. So clearly, this is something that she's thought of recently and that she's prepared for. So I think it's a perfect choice from casting. We've brought it up before, but I think she wins All Stars if she holds on to that idol a little bit longer. So she definitely has something still to play for, and we'll see who she's on a tribe with. But if she is on a tribe with another winner, I actually think that she could build her way into an alliance the exact same way she did in All Stars, to your detriment.
Well, not to my detriment. I'm not playing, but moving forward, we have from, I think it jumps to, I did this well the last time. It jumps up to season 12. No, 10.
No, 2.
Colby's there. Okay. I'm already doing worse. I did this perfectly last time, but yeah, Colby, I'm excited to see back. Heroes versus villains. Colby kind of seemed like he didn't want to be there, so I don't really know what we're getting, but
yeah, I don't know what we're gonna get with Colby. It's an interesting take in either way. I mean, anytime you can get Colby to play, he's a great casting choice.
He's a legend. You have to.
Exactly. Will he be a whole lot different than we got in season 20? Do I think we're gonna get the like old season 2 Colby back? No. I think he's just past that point in his life. But still, like you say, he's a legend, and there's some interesting relationships I could see here that maybe we haven't seen before that could be further apart. Like, how far in age is Colby, even though he's from season 2, from, say, Mike White or Joe?
For sure.
So, I mean, yes, Colby's an older player and he's coming all the way from Australian Outback, but at the same time, this is probably, I guess, but I'm sure it is, if I averaged it out, the oldest season of Survivor amongst all the contestants.
Yeah.
So I definitely think Colby's not just going to be like, oh, he's the old guy, we'll vote him out. I think a lot of the players from newer seasons are going to be pretty excited to play with Colby. I don't necessarily think in the that he's going to be able to say win the game, though, because it's just going to be totally different than every other game of Survivor he's ever played in.
Yeah, true.
I forgot to ask you about that then, because we kind of just jumped onto Colby, but what do you think Jenna's prospects are in the game?
I think she could do well. I mean, I don't think she'll have a huge target coming in.
Yeah.
With Colby, though, like, I think maybe he could go deep. Like, I don't think the game being different necessarily means he won't. We did see Jervis not play from season 1 until season 27, and he had a better finish the second time with a faster-paced game. So,
True.
Now that's not the norm. We saw Wigglesworth come back and not perform as well, and
yeah.
So we'll have to see. I think if one of these two from the original 2 seasons is going to go deep, it's more likely to be Jenna. But
yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised to see one of them make it that far.
Yeah, I would agree. I think if they are to go far, and even if either of them goes far, odds are if they both make the merge, they'll probably work together, which will help them both. I'm not speculating on necessarily what tribe anybody is going to be on because only Jeff and a few top people in production know that at this moment in time, and they probably won't tell us for many months to come. But no, I'm definitely excited to see Colby back, and we'll see what, if anything, different he brings.
Me too.
Last thing before we move on, though. If Colby's going to come back, can we please, even though it's 26 days, even though there's any budgetary concerns, I know, just for Colby coming back, can we have the loved ones visit for one more season?
And specifically a loved ones visit that involves the loved ones playing in the challenge.
Yeah, and let's see who's more competitive. Colby and Reed or somebody else and the assistant coach.
Do you think it would be the assistant coach again?
I don't know, but we'll talk about him when we get to him shortly.
Yeah, he's here. Moving forward from season 2, we have nobody from seasons 3 through 9. We jump to season 10, Palau. Probably the most iconic, recognized player from Palau. We have Stephanie LaGrossa coming back for her 4th time.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely say one of 2 most memorable players with Palau, along with the winner, Tom.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stephanie coming back is really interesting here. On one hand, she lost, and Danny wasn't necessarily, say, the strongest game. I wouldn't factor Danny's win into a win like, say, Boston Robs or Kim Spradlin's or Tony in 40. But at the same time, Steph's been all over the reality community lately.
Yeah.
And maybe some experiences that she's learned on some other shows has maybe given her a new outlet on how to play the new era game that she didn't bring in either Palau, Guatemala, or Heroes versus Villains.
Yeah, I could see that. I think she has a great shot to win and go deep in the game.
Do you?
No, I mean, I think she could. Kyle Dorr, our newest Reality Realm Network host over with the upcoming BB Brains, I think he has her, like, when he listed likelihood to win, he has her at the top. I don't have her that high. But
I'm going to be honest, I have her pre-merge.
Her winning wouldn't surprise me.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, I think that Stephanie will go home early. I think that she's probably just in a bad spot, not as well connected, and somebody that you can just decide, okay, we lost today's challenge, we'll vote Steph out. But it'll definitely, again, someone who's legendary in the game, and to see her come back is fascinating. We'll see what relationship she can build on the beach with any players, notably from the new era.
See, I don't know about her not being connected, though. Like, she hasn't played with a ton of these people, but the Survivor alumni community is like its own little world in each.
Yeah.
There's so many people that are tight friends that have never played together. I guarantee you Stephanie knows some people on this cast really well.
Oh, I'm sure she does, especially like a Colby, a Suri, obviously.
Cerise is the interesting one because they played Traders and Snake in the Grass together.
Yeah.
So
exactly. But one of the things that I at least get, and this is not really related to any one player, this is just related to the game as a whole, is I think if you're an older player who's going to win, it's going to be about what relationships do you build on day 1, 2, and 3 with the new era.
For sure.
Because those casts, and not even just the new era, but I mean even David versus Goliath is another good example where we have 3 players from that season that these newer seasons are all so tight. especially after they played. And that goes really back into the 30s. It's not just like, yes, we all see the 45 cast and the 47 cast. I mean, there was a point after Korong where Michelle Aubry and Julia were all living in Boston and saw each other all the time. David versus Goliath, we see the same thing in California. Um, all You're getting a lot of those with the cast in the 30s. Like, look at all the people that Bryce and Wendell are bringing together in Philly or in New York City. Yeah. But for all these huge events, in Chicago, like you went to, I think that it'll be a little harder for players from, say, the really early seasons, like the first 20, that might be a bit more outside of that to build those connections.
For sure. I totally see your point.
Minus one player that we're going to talk about soon who is getting involved in all of that community aspect of the game, even who I know you've had a chance to meet, even though I don't have huge prospects for him in this game.
Interesting. Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about now. Yeah, he's going home early merge, I think. But
yeah, I can see that. But we have another player to get to first.
We do. So Stephanie played on seasons 10 and 11. Moving forward to season 12, we have Cirie Fields, who I don't need to give an introduction to. Everyone.
No, probably the biggest name on this cast.
Yeah.
It's either her or Colby.
Coming back for her record-tying 5th time playing Survivor, tying Rob.
Yep.
Who technically was on a 6th season he didn't play on. So he still has more appearances. But
that's right. And also someone who's been doing all sorts of reality television lately.
She just does whatever. I don't think she says no at this point. I think
exactly.
Someone asked her to appear on whatever show, and she's gonna do it.
She's won the Traitors. She's gone deep in Big Brother. She was on Snake in the Grass with Stephanie. She's on Survivor Australia versus the World that's starting in a couple of weeks. I mean, at this point, what hasn't Cirie done other than win Survivor?
I was gonna jokingly say win Survivor, but you beat me to it. Dang it.
I had that line written before the show.
When you said what hasn't Cirie done, I thought you were going to stop and I was going to say win Survivor. And I don't think that happens this time. I give it no chance. But
no, I don't think that that's going to happen this time. I think Cirie is just such a big threat. But I do think if you're some new era players that are big threats and Cirie's on your tribe, you might want to align with her.
Oh, if I'm out there and Cirie's on my tribe, that's my first target. That seems like an easy person to rally votes behind as a threat. Like, hey, really? Look how much she's done.
See, if I can see that for a lot of players in this game. But if you're Dee or if you're Genevieve, who you can bet that players are going to be looking at and being like, those are two massive targets in the new era. Isn't Cirie such a good meat shield for you?
Yeah, she is. And I will say, I'm sitting here saying her resume is too big. She won't get any far. Kyle has made a good point, too, texting with him. We've said this before with seasons like Game Changers or even Micro to an extent, are like Traitors, and she gets deep anyway.
Yeah.
Like, she seems to always find a way. But
I think Cirie will go home early merge, but I think that there's definitely people here that are going to want to use her threat level to get them into the merge.
I wouldn't trust that. She's the type of player that, like, I see what you're saying, but if you, for any reason, let her stay in the game, she's going to find footing. I think if I'm out there, I'm trying to go for her the first time my tribe is at Tribal.
Okay.
And that's not even like me, like, not liking the backlash I get when I say she isn't the best to never win. She's an incredible player. Just if I'm thinking as a player, I'm going for her first.
Yeah, I can see that. I think it depends. For me, it depends what kind of game I'm coming in trying to play.
Yeah.
But if I'm, say, for example, a player like Angelina, I'm probably going for the first. If I'm a player like Coach, I'm probably going for the first. If I'm a player like D, I want Suri around.
I just would be afraid of you keep her around an extra day or two and then she gets footing and then you can't get rid of her again.
Fair enough.
I don't think that's worth the risk. I see what you're saying, though. You make a good point. Moving forward, Suri made her debut in season 13. Moving forward to the very next season, season 13, Cook Islands, that we did an episode about just this past off season, Cook Islands.
Yep.
We have Ozzy Lust, who I don't think goes home pre-merge because you're going to want to have him pre-merge to stay away from Tribal. But merge or early post-merge, I think he goes.
Yeah, this was a really surprising pick, to be honest.
Really?
I did not expect Ozzy to be here at all.
Oh, I did.
Really? I thought just with the way that Jeff is portraying the show that Ozzy was done with Survivor. But
he's the challenge beast in the history of the show. And he's one of like the most iconic names and players people crushed on in the history of the show. I had no idea he was going to be here.
But I definitely think it will be neat to see him back after what he was last on Game Changers. So,
and he really didn't.
16 seasons.
Yeah. I really don't remember anything he did on Game Changers, honestly.
The challenge that he always used to be good at that was holding on to a pole for as long as you could, Ty beat him.
Ty beat... I like Ty.
Yeah. Here's what I want to see. And it's not because I have either one. I just think it would be a great competition. Get us some head-to-head battle in some sort of challenge between Ozzy and Jonathan Young.
Make it the like sumo combat challenge over water from San Juan del Sur.
Yeah.
Ozzy's great in the water too, though.
Like, he is.
Give Ozzy versus...
But it could be that. It could be Ozzy and Jonathan in some sort of long-distance swim.
Last Gasp.
Yeah.
I just always want to see Last Gasp, to be fair.
Of course.
You and the audience know that at this point.
Yeah.
I've made my argument for that to be final immunity, and I
would love for that to be final immunity.
I've gotten pushback on that, specifically from Kevin. Because of like 43, they broke it and outlasted the Tide. So
yeah,
there's the fear of how does final immunity work if that happens.
You started at 5 o'clock in the morning.
But production people are smart. It's not my job to figure out logistics. I'm the idea person. So,
yeah, but like I said, I just figured it out. You start the challenge at 5 o'clock in the morning.
There you go, Kevin. We figured it out. And I'm sure one or both of us are going to get a text about this. So that'll be fun when we get there.
And speaking of Kevin, we just got an announcement for the cast of The Traitors Season 4. So look out this fall for Roundtable Talk to be back on a new season. And we'll talk to Kevin about being back on some summer content pretty soon.
I'm so excited Donna Kelsey's going to be on there, partly because I want to hear them talk about it on the New Heights podcast. So
yeah,
because New Heights is amazing. So
yes,
moving forward from Ozzy, who played on season 13, we have nobody from the 20s.
Let's just pause there.
We have
but we gotta pause before we get to Coach. having nobody from 14 to 20, I can't not help but to ask you for your take on the fact that we don't get Amanda here.
Not surprised. She kind of distanced herself from the show for years after Heroes versus Villains.
But she was apparently so late in the casting process. Like, what is production thinking if they're gonna cast Ozzy over Amanda?
I don't know that I believe she was ever that close.
Okay.
Twitter is Twitter. At this point, like I reached up there were so many casting rumors with 50 swirling around Survivor Twitter. I did see somewhere that the thing with Amanda being a late drop was a scheduling thing.
Okay.
But she has just distanced herself from the show so much. I never expected to see her.
Okay.
So
see, I was shocked that she wasn't there.
So well, that's twice now that I've been right with.
So that makes more sense then.
She's distanced herself from the show so much since Heroes versus Villains. It's hard to.
Yeah.
So I never got my hopes up about her coming on.
Fair
Hey,
enough.
stop! Sorry, my dog's laying off to the side, chewing on a stuffed animal, and every time I look over, there's more stuffing on the floor surrounding it.
Oh no!
I'll have to either put that back or look at how badly it's torn up after. It might be time to retire the purple rhino. But yeah, so moving forward to Coach, I do think it's funny that I spent all of 46 calling Q Coach Burdett, and now they're on the same season.
Now they're playing together. I thought of that the second I saw him.
And I really hope they're on the same tribe.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
I'm not a huge Coach fan. I 1000% understand why he's here, and I would be a little disappointed if he wasn't, just because he's one of the legends of the show. This is a landmark season. You have to have him on here, even though I'm not a big fan.
Fair enough. And something unique that I found out only in the last few months, but surprisingly, because you don't normally see this from, I think Coach is down from your neck of the woods.
Yeah, maybe.
In Missouri or Oklahoma or something. You don't normally see this from people outside of the Great Lakes. But Coach is representing Bill's Mafia on Survivor.
He's played his trumpet for Bill's pregame.
Yes.
I don't think I realized he's from the Midwest. I assumed he lived somewhere in New York because of Bill's fandom.
Apparently, Coach told a story online that he was going from the Midwest to New York City or something on a school trip, and they just stopped in Buffalo for food, and he bought a Bills hat, and that's the day he became a Bills fan.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm excited to see Coach. I don't know how he's going to do. On one hand, if he gives us Tocantins Coach, he's probably going to drive everybody from the new era crazy who's never met him before.
Any version of Coach is going to drive people crazy. What do you mean?
Sure. But what I'm getting at with that is that if Coach can find a way to tone it down a bit, I can also guarantee that barely anybody thinks that Coach is a serious threat to win.
Yeah.
And what do you think happens? And we'll maybe get to this at the end if we have some thoughts behind it, just something to think of now, because we can probably talk about what alliances we see forming and who's going to work with who. But what do you think happens if, say, we get to the final 10 and there's a trio of Coach, Q, and Angelina?
That's too much. I don't want.
I know, but that's the point, is that then all of a sudden somebody who people are writing off as no chance, they're just a character, could be playing a winning game.
To be fair to Coach, people that would be writing him off, I don't know how smart of a move that is for someone who, as annoying as he is, has made Final 3 and received votes before.
Yep, that's true.
Like, didn't win, but came within a couple votes of it. Like, I don't think writing him off is a smart idea. I don't think he is a threat to win, but
Oh yeah, I don't either, but I definitely think that Coach could go further than some people think because at the beginning of the game, you're going to look around and see so many threats, and he is not one of them.
totally agree. And so, like we said,
I mean, if you're starting Survivor and you're looking at who's on a beach with you, and it's Coach, D, Aubrey, Suri, Mike White, Colby, Coach is the least threatening person there.
yeah, for sure. So, like we said, there's no one from the 20s at all for some reason.
No. I mean, they don't call it the Dark Ages of the show for nothing.
But, like, 21 to 24 wasn't great. The back half of the 20s was incredible.
Let's stop there just for a second. If there were, say, a couple of names you can think of between Nicaragua and San Juan del Sur, give me 2 men and 2 women that you think would have added to this season. Instead of, say, the 49 people that we can't really talk about.
Right off the bat, I'm going to say Sierra Easton. That's a huge name. For the men, I know he's played 3 times, but so have some people on this cast. I'm going to say Malcolm.
Makes sense.
And then, trying to think. I mean, you have Kagi on in the 20s.
Yeah.
So you could go Spencer, you could go Tasha, you could go any number of routes through there. You have, I don't know. I'm just surprised there's no one from those 10 seasons.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, they're wanting to represent the history of the show, and they left out a fifth of its seasons.
Yeah, if I was to look at earlier seasons in there, like, I mean, amongst, let's say if I went from 21 to 25, there's just not a lot of names that come to mind that would be interesting to see again, and interesting that would actually be good enough to play and would want to play. The one female that's coming to my mind in this section is Andrea, even though we've seen her a few times. I think
in my mind, I would have said her if I
had she really, I think, kind of is the like memorable new player from that season. I would say, yeah, you're right on Malcolm as far as a male goes. If I look later into it, I mean, she's obviously busy and doing something else with her time right now. But one of your favorite winners, Natalie Anderson.
Yeah.
I don't know why we got 2 new era winners and no winners from anything before 40. I think that just puts Dee and Kyle in a bad spot.
I think, looking at the 20s, I think my Sierra pick would have been fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And then if I was to think of a male in that period, seeing Spencer come back would be interesting. Not sure if he's totally disconnected from the community or not.
Raymond now he goes by.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's another female, but Sierra would have been great. I agree with you there.
That, to me, that's the female from
the
20s that originated from the 20s. I think
absolutely.
So,
I mean, I'm not sure if there was other issues that might have had production not call her now where they used to call her every year previously, but that's outside the point, at least in my view.
I agree, but if it's the issue I think you're going with, there's someone on this cast that is of the same view. So,
Okay.
because that was written about recently by another former player. So,
Oh, interesting.
I told you about that,
I probably forgot.
but I'll be more specific when we're done recording.
Yeah.
But moving forward from coach, no one in the 20s, we go to season 32, and I joke with you about this player, but I am going to leave this player introduction to you this time.
Sure. Aubrey's back from Survivor Koran. And I mean, as big of a Michelle fan as I am, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Aubrey's a great player. I have nothing against her specifically. More so, my criticism is with her fan base online, which doesn't represent the player whatsoever.
So it's like me
She,
with three.
yeah,
Okay.
Aubrey's played a couple of very strong games, both in Koran. I think either both her and Michelle played games that in the right jury could win, and Michelle managed to properly manage the jury and represent what they wanted to hear, and that's why Michelle's the winner and Aubrey isn't, and that's the way Survivor is. It's about people skills. It's not just about flashy game moves. And then we had Aubrey go deep again in Game Changers. But while we're talking about flashy game moves, somebody who should be here playing on another tribe against Aubrey is Victoria.
Yeah.
That one was robbed. I don't know why she's never even got called again after playing such a strong strategic game in Edge of Extinction, but we'll talk about this again. I think Aubrey's Edge of Extinction game, though, could help her here. She might still have the reputation of being such a strong player from Koran. At the same time, the fact that she got blindsided in EOE makes her not as memorable as if she went deep 3 times.
Yeah. She's still a huge name. People will be excited to see her back.
Yeah.
So moving forward, we have.
And I won't get into too much about snub players. We can talk about that at the end.
Yeah, moving forward to someone that friend of the show, 3-time reigning draft champion. As much as I don't enjoy that fact, Kevin Oliver, one of his least favorite players, I believe. Chrissy Hoffback is back, and I really don't have anything against Chrissy, but this was like the one person in this cast that I'm looking through it, and I'm like, why? Why do we need to see her again? Why is she, like of all the like legends that weren't on this momentous season? And this isn't a shot at her. I just don't know why she's here.
Oh, I definitely see why she's here. I think that HHH was one of the probably closest seasons of all time, similar to Koran, that you could really make an argument for either player to win. I know Kevin is a massive Ben fan, so that's why he has that position. But I think that both players played a different game, but played a very competitive game. And also, we all know that New Era Survivor loves the personal stories. And what Chrissy's been able to overcome in between her last game and this game is going to give so much content on TV that how could you not have her here?
Yeah, she just wouldn't have ever crossed my mind if I was making this cast.
Makes sense. Yeah, I personally wasn't surprised to see her at all. I thought this was a great pick by production, and I think she's somebody who could go very far into the game and maybe has a shot to win.
Yeah. So moving forward from season 35 to season 37, we have 3 players from.
We have a couple of seasons with 3 players, and this is the first one. Or is it 3 seasons with 3 players?
I think it's 3. We'll figure it out as we go, though. We have Christian, Angelina, and Mike White all back. Mike White I don't.
all in totally different spots too, where they all played on the same season. I think they all get along very well, but they've all gone on to do such huge things in their own right after their season that it'll be fun to watch the character growth for all three of these players. So who do you want to start with?
Let's start with Mike because I think he has no chance to win.
I don't think Mike has a chance to win. I think you're right, but I do think Mike is going to go very, very far in this game. I think I'll put it on the record now. I think we're going to see Mike in the finale.
Yeah.
And I mean, who wants to vote off the guy who could potentially get you into an Emmy-winning show?
Yeah.
We've seen Christian, we've seen Angelina, both his season castmates that are coming back for 50. We've seen Kara. I think there's been a couple of other players who made appearances on White Lotus recently. Mike is going to, the second they get to the marooning, Mike is going to get attention from everybody there based on how successful he's been since Survivor.
And he was super successful before Survivor.
He was. But
he did School of Rock, which is which is a huge movie.
And Nacho Libre.
Okay, so I forgot he was on Nacho Libre. So my pivot with Mike White, if I'm a player, isn't get me on White Lotus. It's introduce me to Jack Black.
Well, they are best friends.
And I'm the type of Jack Black is one of my favorite actors. I find him hilarious. I've never played the video game Minecraft. I went to see the Minecraft movie because everything Jack Black is in makes me laugh. So
nice.
That would be my pitch to Mike White.
Can I just pitch something now?
Yeah.
Jeff, production, if anybody ever hears this, get a black and white production for Blood vs. Water 3.
Oh my God, Jack Black and Survivor. That thought never crossed my mind.
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Or have Probst play and Jack Black be the host, because that would
yeah.
I need to watch Kung Fu Panda now. Not as much as I thought I would say on this episode, to be honest.
But yeah, Mike's at the point where I think, yes, you're right. He was extremely successful before he came on Survivor. But this is going to probably be the first season where, like, if the average person is watching that doesn't know anything about Survivor, they're going to point at the screen and say, there's Mike White, not there's Jeff Probst.
Yeah.
Jeff is not the most famous person to be sitting in that tribal council anymore.
True.
And it'll be fun to see how, if at all, that has an impact on the game.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see them. I'm excited to see Mike. I love Christian. I'm psyched to see him. Excited to see what type of jacket Angelina brings, if she brings one.
So, which one do you want to go to next?
Let's do Christian.
Sounds good. Yeah, last time we saw Christian, he was a student. Now he's a tenured professor.
Yeah.
That is going to be quite the character growth.
Yes, but I feel like it's generally going to be a pretty similar Christian at the same time.
Yeah. But he's just been so successful in his field, and I think he's now teaching at Georgia Tech.
Florida State, I think.
Florida State?
I'll look it up. I just need to see them do the endurance challenge where they're standing up and holding their arms up like this.
And now that he's a professor, he'll probably start reciting his own textbook instead of telling us whatever facts he can remember from somebody else's.
Did he write a textbook, or do you?
I don't think so yet. I'm just joking.
Oh, because I've had teachers in college that, like, for their classes use books they wrote as the textbook.
Oh, I have to. In fact, I had the funniest teacher I had in political science. He assigned us 4 books, and he's just like, he points at the 3 on the screen that he didn't write, and he's like, "Those 3, you can steal them online. I don't care. The top one that's written by him, he's like, buy the new version."
Yeah. So it looks like Christian works at the Florida A&M Florida State College of Engineering.
Wow,
So it's
that's
both.
impressive.
I guess those two colleges have a joint engineering college.
I would guess.
So
You're talking to a political science and tourism major about how engineering works.
no, it's not how engineering works. It's just the college he works at. Because
I know. I'm just saying I don't even know how the programs operate.
his email for like work email is FAMU and FSU. It has both.
That's fascinating.
Either way, it's not Georgia Tech. So I'm
no.
I was right.
You're right. I'm wrong.
I'm always right.
That you are.
So moving forward, we have nobody from 38, 39.
Hey, we missed Angelina, and we do have somebody from 38. You missed Angelina and Rick Devens, two of the biggest characters of the last 20 seasons of Survivor.
Devens is there, and I'm tired. I did a lot better going through the seasons last time we did this, but Angelina, I'm excited to see. She was a bit more of a character last time, and I was still kind of new to the fandom. I don't remember her being super liked or a fan favorite during the season, but love for her has grown a ton since her season.
So, yeah. I don't know what we're going to get from Angelina here. I do think if you go into her bio, though, she has to be one of the most, I don't want to say misedited, because I mean they edit players based on who they are on the island, but she was clearly edited to fill a character role for Survivor. I think of anybody that's in this game, she probably has so much more to offer than what we saw last time, and could probably be the biggest difference from one season to the next.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I just pulled up her LinkedIn here. You don't become student body president at Stanford and then a master's at Yale, and then work for Deloitte, and then start your own political advocacy committee to get women involved in politics by being the way that Angelina was edited on David versus Goliath.
Yeah, that's true.
So, of everybody that's on this cast, I think she's probably the one who's going to play the most different game to what we saw before.
Well, and also, since we've seen her play, she has gotten married.
Yep.
And had not one but 2 kids when she had 0 last time. So just
she's
as a whole is different.
And she's relocated from Vegas to San Diego.
I forgot that. Oh, she's out there by Kara now. Nice.
Yep.
So that is, I'm excited to see the new version of her. So, and then moving forward, yes, we do have Rick Devens, who I'm psyched about.
Yeah. I don't know if this is Rick's second time getting a chance to play Survivor or his third time getting a chance to play Survivor, but I'm absolutely excited to see him. Rick was probably, even though he got voted off pre-merge, he was a massive character. His confessionals were amazing. Is he our first player we're talking about to have co-hosted On Fire with Jeff?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a possibility of an On Fire alliance in this game?
Yeah, maybe. It'd be him and Dee and Charlie.
Yep.
So, I'm excited to see him. And I will ask you this, because I'm curious, because I know you like that's your kind of go-to joke with Devens is, oh, this isn't his second chance, it's his third.
Yeah.
Was Kara Moen Andrea's second or third time playing?
Tara Moen. I'm trying to think. Andrea came back from Redemption Island.
Yes.
So, yeah, I guess that fits the same mold.
Okay. I'm excited.
I had to think about it because in my mind, I'm so used to if you tell me who came back from Redemption Island, my mind goes either to Ozzy or to Matt Elrod.
Matt came back. Ozzy came back. Laura came back. And
that's right. Yeah.
Was Ozzy both Redemption Island returnees in South Pacific? Who was the second one?
South Pacific. Yeah, Ozzy was both.
Okay.
Ozzy got himself voted out. He came back by beating Christine, and then he came back again at Final 5 or something.
I'm going to give Ozzy some strategic credit a little bit for using Redemption Island to his advantage.
Right? Yeah, that was genius.
Yeah, because numbers were pretty even that time. So he was able to knock out a number from the other tribe there.
Yep.
Back in. So.
Until Cochran beat him playing chess instead of checkers.
I mean, yes, but the flip really didn't work for Cochran either. Like, Upolu still took him out when he was the last Savaii left.
You're correct, but it got him to be the last one left.
True.
I think Cochran would... my take is if Cochran didn't flip, he would have ended up in like a jury spot in Australia where his own tribe doesn't vote him out first from them, but votes him out whenever they feel they don't need him anymore.
Yeah. So Ozzy was both returnees. He finished in 4th place. That is annoying.
Yeah.
So he got 3 in one seat, one of which was getting voted out on purpose, was a strategic move. But I feel like Redemption Island was invented with Ozzy in mind. Like, he's just such the perfect player for that element of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
And so from Rick, we move forward to 42, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got Jonathan, who is new era Ozzy, essentially.
That we do. And which brings us to Jonathan is the only player from, like we mentioned, that we didn't get anybody in the early 20s. Jonathan is the only player in those early 40s when Survivor was going through another rough patch.
Yeah.
We don't get anybody from 43, which shocks me. We don't get anyone from 44, which the fan base seems to be shocked about, but I was like, okay, that's fine. I didn't really need anyone again from that season. And then we don't get anybody from 41, which doesn't shock me at all because, I mean, it wasn't great.
I just wanted Jesse from the early 40s. That's all I really cared about.
We'll get into a few players that we think were missed at the end.
Yeah, well, I'm on topic still because we were talking about the early.
Oh, no, I know. So. I just want to do a whole segment on that before we wrap up.
If you told me 41, 42, 43, 44, you get one player between them, Jonathan is at best my third choice off the top of my head because Jesse 1, Mike Turner 2.
Interesting.
I can probably think of more.
Yeah.
Like Jonathan, his game is he's very one-dimensional. His game is only physical.
Agreed. And that's where I think Jonathan is kind of in a bad spot, is that they did, not that his game's one-dimensional, we knew that, but they also did put him completely alone in this. I honestly thought if they were going to bring Jonathan in this spot, that they would also bring Lindsay with him.
Yeah.
And kind of reignite that friendship, rivalry that was just fascinating to watch in 42 with probably two of the better physical players of the new era.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't have great hopes for Jonathan. Considering that he's by himself and I don't really see him as that connected. We don't see Jonathan doing a ton of events. He's in Alabama and in Florida. We see him socializing with players from his season like Mike, but we don't really see him interacting with players from like 45, 46, 47, 48, at least that I've seen.
Yeah.
So that, in my mind, makes him not in a great spot. The one thing that he is in a great spot is if we get a lot of tribal councils, having Jonathan on your tribe is an absolute gift from production.
I think he goes home merge or early post merge for the same reason Ozzy does. You want to keep pre-merge so you. I am still of the old mindset that seems to be becoming less and less majority, that your job pre-merge is to stay away from tribal and you keep the people that help you do that.
Makes sense.
So
something to ask you, because I brought it up when we my chair just fell. I brought it up when we talked about Ozzy. Do you think either Jonathan or Ozzy could maybe be like the merge boot of this season? And in the first individual challenge, we get the two of them going head to head for their life in the game?
I'd love to see it, but I don't think it's super likely.
It would sure make great television.
Oh, it definitely would.
All right, so like we said, we have nobody from 43 or 44, which brings us to 45. Another season that we have two, yeah.
We have Dee and Emily, and I'm so excited to see both of them. Dee, I'm rooting for to win. I'm not going to get my hopes up about it, but...
Dee is, in my mind, coming into this game with the biggest threat level of anybody on the beach.
Maybe.
She's a winner. She's seen as being like the new era's perfect, well-rounded player. And her win was far more recent than, say, if she was an old school player.
She is kind of the new generation Kim.
Yeah.
But Kyle is fresh on people's minds.
Yeah.
And Cirie is not only has her game resume, but like the personality, not like she's got the whole aura and lore about her at this point too. So
were you expecting to see Dee here, or are you a bit surprised seeing that? I think at this point it's common knowledge in the fan base for another show that I podcast on that she's pretty much coming back to Miami from being in Chile and Argentina doing the challenge for a couple of weeks. And she's home for no more than 2 weeks before she's going from MTV's The Challenge to Fiji.
I was surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought when I saw Dee on the challenge that it was like, okay, her chance of 50 is done. She must have not got a call. But I mean, hey, if you're in her spot, you just won $1 million and you get the opportunity to go play both shows in a year, why not? And it's probably to an extent almost a positive for her because on the challenge, you are working out all day and you are eating properly and you're also going through these physical competitions that is going to set her up for Survivor perfectly.
Oh, for sure. And I can't
compared to, say, playing Survivor twice in a row, unknown A and unknown B, who happen to be called Savannah and Rizgod.
No, they don't have names. They're just blank heads with question marks as their face.
That's what CBS has told us.
Yeah. So, no, I'm excited to see her. I wasn't expecting it. It was a pleasant surprise though, for sure.
Yeah,
So,
I
moving
would agree.
and
What about Emily?
Emily, I'm excited to see back. She had a really cool arc of character growth and change from
Yeah,
episode 1 of 45 to
I
when she went home.
I put Emily in that same category as Angelina, that I think could bring us something totally different. I think she's got that. I think she was on the beach for what, 22, 23 days. She's got the experience of being on almost a full season of New Era Survivor. And she's learned not only things that she did well in the game, but also where she made early mistakes. And those early mistakes will not only teach her about how to play better, but also will probably do a good job lowering Emily Flippin's threat level coming into this game, where people don't see her as that perfect player that they do deep.
Totally agree. So, I think she could do really well, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, moving forward to 46, we have our second of, I believe, 3 seasons with 3 players on it,
Yep,
at least 3. Because we have 46, we have Tiffany, we have Charlie, and we have Q.
that's right.
And man, if we get Tiffany and Q on a tribe together sometime, that's going to
I
be.
think it'll have to wait until the merge, but it wouldn't surprise me if both of them make it though.
I just want to see that interaction.
Or I say the merge. Something tells me having 3 tribes of 8 in this season, which I'd imagine it's going to be, seeing that they asked us to vote on tribe colors with 3 options back when it was like in the hands of the fans. That the math only makes sense. Um, do you think that this could be like Cambodia, where we maybe get a couple of swaps?
We're getting at least one because I'm pretty sure the fans voted yes for a swap.
Yeah, I think they could surprise us and give us it too.
I'd be okay with that. Game Changers gave us about 1 million swaps.
Yeah, you're right.
So, and who do you want to start with for 46?
I mean, if it's you and I doing this podcast, we got to start with the male Swifty.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Charlie.
Yeah, so am I. I know there's a lot of division in the community about that vote. Kenzie winning, with Charlie coming second, with Maria being robbed of winning a challenge, with her then being probably more bitter than we've ever seen anybody and voting against her number one ally. Whatever you think about it, it's an amazing storyline. And to see Charlie coming back and getting a second chance is, I think, great for him. He was a really strong social player, a strong strategic player, and also someone who saw the Eras Tour at my home football stadium of Anfield is just amazing to have on Survivor.
Define which version of the word football are you using there?
The British one.
Okay. Well, cut.
Charlie and Ben went to the Eras Tour together in Liverpool, England.
Okay. Well, you said your hometown, and so you
I
have.
said my home. I didn't say town. I just said home stadium, like the club I cheer for.
Well,
I may be speaking in a too English way for this podcast.
Again, you're not British.
And I'm not American either.
I know.
Sierra.
It's funny because texting with you sometimes is just our friendship. You act like you're British sometimes, and it makes me smile. But no, what threw me off with that was you saying home stadium, and Ottawa has a CFL team, and
That's
sometimes
right.
you say football, it's soccer, and sometimes when you say football, it's football. So I never know what you mean.
Fair
I
enough. My
usually
bad.
do. That time I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, yes, we do have a CFL stadium. It would need to be about 3 times bigger to get consideration for a worldwide mass event like the Eras Tour.
Well, make it 3 times bigger then, and you'll
And
have.
we would need to not have the winter, which was what happened when she came here last.
Well, I don't know how to get rid of winter, honestly.
Climate change.
Well, so yeah, I'm excited to see Charlie. I do love Charlie. I was happy Kenzie won because I was right. Because I said she was gonna win at the merge and never changed that.
Yeah.
But I do love Charlie also. I love both of them. I feel bad for him with how the Maria thing went, and I don't
Yeah.
think they talk anymore.
No, I don't, which is unfortunate for both of them.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel bad for both of them on how the whole end of the game went.
yeah,
I
Maria.
feel bad for Kenzie getting her win tied into that because obviously, as a Michelle fan, I feel every player that wins deserves to win. I feel bad for Liz getting involved in that controversy. The whole season in 46 just ended badly on everybody's part. Frankly, other than Ben, who is just having a great time.
Honestly, though, Kenzie's been living her best life since then. She
She
got the
has.
win. If you follow her online, she had a baby a little bit after winning, and she's like, she loves being in mom life now. Like,
Yeah.
if she worked out great. And
Yeah.
I think Maria got way too much flack online. But at the same time, if I'm Charlie, yeah, I'd be ticked off about that.
Yeah.
Because they both were, neither one of them admitted it to the other one. Like, with Kyle and Camilla, they both said, like, yeah, we can't both go to the end.
If there's
Maria and
anybody from
Charlie,
that season who should get flack online, it shouldn't be the players who went deep in the game.
Maria and Charlie were both planning on pulling the trigger on each other.
Yeah,
They didn't tell each other.
that's it.
Like, Maria seemingly got hurt by Charlie voting her out. You were planning to do the same thing.
Right.
That's just my stance on it, though. But again, she got way too much flag because people on the internet are morons and take things too far.
Yeah.
So Tiffany, I don't have a ton about to say. She's a really fun character. I know Kevin's really
Yeah.
her.
My take on Tiffany here is that and I kind of like what I said about Coach, but not exactly, but the same sort of version of the character. If Tiffany gives us the strategic side that she did pretty much throughout the whole game, Tiffany will go very far.
Yeah, for sure.
If Tiffany loses track of what she's doing and gets a little off focus and goes the way she was at Final Tribal Council, I think she's in trouble early.
For sure.
I've never seen somebody have such a bad Final Tribal Council when they're not even playing. Well, she is playing, but from the jury benches.
Yeah. And so, yeah, and we already talked about Q a little bit. He's the new era coach. He's entertaining. He's funny. He's funnier than Coach actually by a lot. But I don't know what
Yeah.
to expect because like the pre-merge of 46, they edited Coach to be a pretty solid player who knew what he was doing, and then he just like the fake quit thing happened around the merge, and like his edit just went bonkers off the rails after that.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to expect from him, but I want him and Coach on the same tribe.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect either from him. It would definitely be interesting, like you say, to see him and Coach there. No matter what, I mean, there's more than three big characters on this season who are probably more known for being characters than they are for being gamers. I'm looking at Coach. I'm looking at Q. I'm looking at Angelina. I'm looking at Emily. Somewhere down the line, we're going to get a couple of them together and probably more after the swap. So
Oh, for
there's
sure.
surely some good entertainment value in this cast.
I don't know that I don't remember. Did you say Emily in that name?
Yeah.
I don't put her in the coach and Q category. I think she's a bit more of a
Uh,
serious player than just a wacky character.
uh, I think she has both sides to her game. We'll see which one comes out.
I just don't see that coach side to her. She felt more. I think that was part of her thing in episode one, why she almost went home first, was because she was too serious and game focused and didn't have that side to her, the fun, wacky side. I think she grew that a little bit, but I wouldn't put her in the coach and Q category at all.
Makes sense.
Angelina, I might, but just because of like stuff like the ladder, like constantly bringing up your rights negotiation, the jacket,
Yeah.
and so on. Moving forward, though, 47 is not represented, which is crazy because that was an incredible season.
Yeah.
Eight,
No, 47's represented.
is it?
I'm not going to miss this player.
Oh, right. Sorry. I'm like this. I should have just been looking at a text list because looking at CBS is like collage of faces. It's not an.
Yeah.
It's just a hodgepodge. So yeah, take it away on this one. This one's yours.
Yeah. Genevieve's back representing Canada. I love this. Um, I think it's what's going to be difficult for her is coming in with that threat level because she did just play and was such a big strategic force in 47, and now we're only looking at 3 seasons later, which is exactly why I was saying, like, if I'm Genevieve, I'm looking at trying to align with someone like D.
Yeah.
Or someone like Sui, even. Or looking around to cast someone like Aubrey. Um, I definitely think if she can do that, she could go very far and win this game. I think she's probably one of the best strategic players that we've seen in a very long time.
Yeah, I agree.
And when we get down to our personal picks later, right before the season, she's definitely someone who's going to be a player that I'm cheering for this season.
Yeah, I agree. She's fantastic.
And also, one of the big themes in 47 was Genevieve struggling with her morals playing in game. I think you're going to see a big difference in that, and that might be a difference in her character, is that if she was before struggling with, we're spending so much time together and now I have to vote somebody out, the fact that it's all returning players, I think gives her a license to do whatever she wants.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think she's going to be as conflicted about what decisions she makes. She'll be sold on, I'm here to play the game for myself. And maybe that even lets her work with some other big threats who had similar um, dilemmas in the game, but who might play a totally different game than her and that she can try to hide behind. Would you be surprised if, say, Genevieve decided to work with Joe? I wouldn't.
Not necessarily.
And we're going to get to the 48 people in a second.
Yeah. I
But
think
I think the two of them would be totally different styles of gameplay that I think could come together very well.
yeah. So you mentioned the 48 people. We do have Camilla and Kyle and Joe. So I'm excited to see them come back Either Camilla or Kyle has to go early for the other one to have a chance, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And in my mind, Kyle is the winner here. I think if anyone from this season has a chance, it's Camilla. Camilla's going to come in with a big threat level, but she's also going to be a strategic threat in the game who really knows how to play modern Survivor. Very similar to the way that Genevieve's coming in. And if she can get her footing in the game, same thing as I just said about Genevieve, I think Camilla could start orchestrating votes one after the next and be a big player in this game, whether she goes all the way to the end or not.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see Kyle because it seems like, oh, one of two winners, they'll shut that down. Like, look at All Stars, winners went home early. But look at Heroes versus Villains. Not only were two of the final three winners, but um another former winner, JT, while he was a bonehead, was one made one of the biggest impacts on the game, and it didn't work, but he took a huge swing. So, like, if winners don't just get targeted immediately for being winners, I think Kyle might have a better shot than people think.
Yeah,
I just don't know if this is going to be all stars or heroes versus villains.
fair enough.
Because even winners there that went home early, like a Tom Westman from the Heroes Tribe, he didn't get targeted just for being a winner automatically.
That's right.
So, good Lord, we had 4 winners that season.
Yep.
And people are complaining about winners being brought back this time when there's
Who are winners then? Tom,
JT,
JT, Parv,
Sandra.
and Sandra. Yeah. Because I was going to say Rob is not a winner at that point.
Yeah. See, people are complaining now of, oh, why are you bringing winners back? Give someone else a chance to win with 2 of them, which I just think that's a dumb complaint. If I like watching someone play, I like watching them play and want them on my screen whether they've won or not.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I don't have a problem with it at all. In fact, like I said, I'm a little surprised though that there is 2. I think 4 would have been the right number.
Yeah, people are complaining so much about winners being back when there's 2 of them when
Yeah.
the consensus by the fan base, but highest quality season had 4.
Exactly. I definitely
Social
think
media had been a thing when that cast came out. They would have shredded it too. Like this
for
cast
sure.
is getting shredded online, and I think it's so much better than people think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you there. And that's the only thing I think with winners is I don't think that they have enough winners if they're gonna have them. I think leaving 2 just leaves Kyle and I almost said Kyle and Camilla because they're so attached to each other that way. But Kyle and D to be easy votes.
Yeah. So, and then we have Kyle, we have Camilla, we have Joe. He was a challenge player on his season, but when you're out there with Ozzy and Jonathan, I don't think Joe is in that same category.
Interesting. I do.
I think he's a great challenge beast, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
Ozzy's the challenge beast of all time. And even though last season I said Kyle had taken New Era Kyle, 47 Kyle, had taken this title,
Yeah.
I withdraw that a little bit. Jonathan is the challenge beast of the New Era.
Yeah.
You and I both kind of got way too into the Kyle 47 hype at the time, and then kind of fizzled out. But I just don't know that. I think Joe's that next tier down below those 2.
Fair enough. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up. looking at the cast so far, let's do a couple more things. Because I've hinted at it. Let's do male and female, one old school player, one new school player, one new era player that we think got snubbed in this case and that we would have liked to see on this cast.
Yeah. Okay, you go first.
All right, let's start. Should we start at the beginning or should we go in reverse?
Let's start at the beginning.
All right, so I'm gonna go to old school here. As far as a male player goes, like I said, I don't think that he was ever really in contention. But if he was, Greg being on the show would have been amazing.
Yeah.
As far as a female player goes, I won't go with Amanda because we already talked about her. But someone popped up on Instagram or YouTube short or whatnot that I would have loved to see. And that was someone that's famous for having a infamous scene with Amanda, and that's Danielle.
I saw that.
That was really cool to see her again. But I was shocked to see. I knew Danielle was in casting for Edge of Extinction and just didn't get in, probably at Wentworth's benefit. But I would have really liked to see her here. I think this would have been an older school cast that she would have fit in well with. And especially, the same kind of arc as we've seen with players like Angelina, that Danielle last played as a single woman and has now been a mother for a few years.
Yeah, for sure. So
what about you?
We're going male, female, old school, new era.
That's right.
Female, I am gonna. I'm gonna not go Amanda because you and the audience know that's my obvious choice.
Yeah, and that you didn't actually expect her.
I'm not even doing people I expected as much as people I wanted.
Yeah.
And a reason I'm not going to do Amanda is so both of my old school people aren't from the same season, because I'm going to say Todd for my male.
Love it.
And I think,
and if there was the possibility of having a pre-40 winner, Todd would have been perfect.
Yeah. I think his personal history probably disqualified him from Winners at War as well as 50. He talked with us a little bit about that when he was on our show.
Yeah.
But for my female, I'm trying to think of a kind of more obscure pick. I love your Danielle pick. I am going to go with See, I would have said Jenna, but they went with her because I would have wanted someone from Borneo. So I guess I'll just go with the simple answer and say Jerry.
Nice. Yeah.
That would have been amazing. Second male, also Penner.
Yeah. Yeah, both names in contention. I'm not quite sure what happened there because I heard both Jerry and Penner wanted to be on the season, and I don't know how if they want to play, you don't have them play, but hey, that's people that are paid to do this job.
Yeah, they cut Jerry but put Chrissy Hoff back on.
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
They also cut Jerry for many other names.
I know, that's just the name my mind goes to on this season that, is the most obscure to me.
Makes sense.
Why? But
all right, so getting into new school. My female, I think I've already stated in this podcast, but it's Victoria. She was 6th place in Edge of Extinction, more like 4th if you count players who actually played the whole game. Absolutely brilliant moves throughout the whole game, most notably against Aubrey, which would have been so fun to see maybe them come back on opposite tribes from each other. And Victoria really played that strategic role and ran a lot of the game the whole way through. As for my male pick, it's got to be in this case Dominic from Ghost Island. No, nobody has ever got a tie vote and lost other than him.
Yeah, that's a good
And
one.
I know we've seen Dominic do the Challenge USA recently, so he's still in the mindset of reality TV. I think he would have been great on this cast.
Yeah. So I mentioned Sierra. I would have loved to have seen her come on. To me, I'm with you. The obvious male choice is Dominic. Female, there's a few options. I think Sierra's the biggest name female wise to come out of the 20s. So, I mean, I already talked about her. I'll just make that my pick.
Makes
So,
sense.
I I mean, that's she voted out her mom as Probst's like second favorite line to mention. So,
And he has the player with his favorite line to mention on this cast.
oh
So,
my gosh, we're gonna hear it so many times.
well, depends how long Sui lasts.
We're gonna hear it so many times.
Yeah.
Either way. I don't know how, but he's gonna find a way to work it in. Oh. I
Yeah.
get it. It's a great story. It's just like has
We
been
know.
the same exact line forever. There's a few of those.
We heard that line for the first time in 2006.
And even like seasons when she's not on, when she gets referenced, he says she got up off the couch and reference to her when her name.
Yeah.
So
Also, I didn't watch the season, but maybe Kyle can tell me. Did anybody say or make any reference to the fact that in Big Brother she spent the season on the couch? Because that would have been so funny.
I don't think so. I just
Aw.
remember with Todd came on that I mentioned people had said Suri was good at the game of Big Brother, and Todd said he would disagree with that.
Makes sense.
So she did make it deep though.
Yeah.
Again,
I'll trust Todd on that. Because I know nothing.
yeah.
All right, moving into New Era. I think people here would expect that I'm probably going to say Sydney. I won't. Sydney, did she say this online on Twitter or something? But mention like 50 isn't my season. I think somebody in with her storyline is just built for second chances, not for 50, which is this general like all-star season.
Yeah.
You want to see a player like Sydney get a chance at redemption on a second chances season, which I actually do think will come sometime around season 53, 54. And we got a lot of the players that I wanted through, like, we got enough content from 45, from 46. We got Genevieve for 47. So I'm going to go with two players from the same season, and that's 43. And it's the obvious pick, Jesse, which you mentioned. I'm sure he'll be your pick as well. And someone that I think the fan base is divided on, but that many of us, including myself, she would have got the jury vote, and that's Cassidy.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Cassidy's a good one. I'm going with Jesse for my male for sure. There's so many females that are good options here. So I'm gonna go Rachel for the female.
Nice. That's a good one. Imagine Rachel and Genevieve on opposite tribes from each other again.
Oh, I was just thinking like when Rachel won, there was a lot of like recency bias. I'm gonna call it recency bias. A lot of people may still hold this opinion of like who played the better game between Dee and Rachel.
Yeah.
I think having them both out there would be interesting.
That would be fun.
Who goes farther because they would both have a huge target.
I think Rachel played a decent game, but I think that D has that pretty easily.
I would agree. We'll have to get Kevin on because Kevin still, I believe, has Rachel at the top of his new era winners. So
Yeah.
we'll have to bring him on and not gang up on him, but it would be 2-on-1. So we have the numbers advantage. Not that numbers matter in that scenario, but
Yeah.
so yeah, those are my picks. Are we doing a
Uh,
blindside first boot?
we can do that in 1 second, but before we get started, I know we're a year out, male and female. Who are you cheering for?
Um, my top three.
Okay, we'll do top three.
Yeah,
I like that better.
well,
We'll name one player when we do the fantasy draft right before the season starts, and lock it in.
I didn't mean to just completely change your question. This is
Oh,
just
that's fine.
I was rooting for when they released the cast. So
Nice.
my male and female would be D Devins, but D is my number one, and then Devins and Stephanie are kind of tied at two.
Yeah. So D, Devin, Stephanie.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm gonna go looking at this cast. Genevieve, Charlie, and Jenna.
Nice.
All right, so you want to do a line blindside first boot? Who you got?
Cooking this up. I'm gonna go with Rick Devins.
Yeah.
Gonna go with Stephanie LaGrossa Kendrick. And let's go a little bit more obscure here as far as names on the 50 cash goes and throw Tiffany in there as the third one.
Interesting. I am going to align with Stephanie. She always goes far in the game. She's proven she can be beaten. Doesn't have the greatest final. I'm going to blindside Tiffany and hope that she's a little calmer at final and not going to time my answers. And that leads me to first boot Devins. Hopefully he can't find his way back into the game at the finale this time.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not the finale, but close to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 3 players from my snub players list. So your options are Dominic Abate, Cassidy Clark, and Victoria Beaumont.
Love that. Oh, man, I said Sierra. I should have said Lauren for my new school. I'm adding Lauren to my picks for that.
Fair enough.
When we make social content for this episode.
I like it.
But, Dominic's the most dangerous for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm going to first boot him. I'm going to blindside Victoria because I think she would have won that season if things go a little differently.
Yeah.
And I'm going to align with Cassidy because she's already went to the end and lost. So
nice.
Let's just add a second time.
Yeah, I like those 3. It's a good decision.
Cool. Well, this was a really fun episode. Check out Pits.Pals. We are rewatching season 29, the Stranger season, which had a fantastic premiere that we recapped.
And keep your eyes out for new generation challengers. If it's anything like season 40, the cast for 41 could drop any hour now. So TT and I will be back on doing a cast breakdown as soon as we get a cast.
And that's the one you guys invited a guest on for, right?
Yes, that is the one we've invited a guest on for. Well, I hinted it based on online rumors that an official cast yet from MTV. We're going to do the podcast with once MTV confirms the actual cast, but it's all but official that D. Valladares, winner of Survivor 45, Bruce's favorite player of the new era, is going to be doing MTV's The Challenge, as I may have let slip earlier in this podcast by accident. So our co-host Bruce Heller is going to be joining TT and I to talk about the cast release for 45. 45. What am I talking about? 41.
Nice. Well, this was a great episode. Also, Roundtable Talk coming back at you at some point in this millennium.
Yeah, we should talk about that with Kevin ASAP now that I'm back.
BB Brains coming sometime this summer. Lots of stuff happening. Check it out.
And here on Tribal Council Chat, we'll have off-season content for a little bit, but soon we're going to be doing Australia versus the world.
Yeah. So
that's going to be fun. And Suri, of course, is on it because she's on every show. Tony is back. We'll see if we get serious winners at War Tony or if we get crazy Tony running through the jungle. And the American goat, Parvati Shallow, is going to be competing against some Australians.
Yes.
Including one of whom that she has a previous relationship with on Deal or No Deal Island.
A very strong relationship, too.
And someone that is one of, I think, 3 players that Australian Survivor fans consider in the kind of greatest of all time list.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. Check out the Redbubble store, too. With all that said, grab your torches and head back to camp, everyone. Bye.
Good night.